I can't get my seeds because the government banned them because of the coronavirus hoax. Hi there, this is Big Spruce Rabbitry, and today I want to address a myth that's been making the rounds of the interwebs that seeds have been outlawed in the United States because of the coronavirus crisis. I'm not really sure where this myth started. Some companies like Walmart have classified seeds as non-essential and are not stocking them, but that doesn't make them illegal. I've also read that some states like Vermont have stopped stocking seeds because they're considered non-essential. I think many of these conspiracy theories have been stoked by the fact that many online retailers for seeds, such as Johnny Seed Company, have sold out of seeds for the year. My order to Johnny showed up a full month late, but they did end up actually placing it after sending me an email saying that they weren't going to be able to place it because they were just too backlogged with people ordering seeds. And that giant backlog, people basically panic buying seeds because of the coronavirus pandemic. So they aren't banned, you just can't get them very easily. Plus, there's also the thing that this late in the year, April, is kind of late to be putting in seed orders normally in the lower 48. Sorry, internet conspiracy theorists, seeds are not banned in the United States. I have not been able to find any actual regulations about buying vegetable seeds here in the United States. So if you can't get seeds locally because they're considered non-essential, just go online. I hate to recommend Amazon, but they have plenty of seeds. And if you don't want to go to Amazon, all the other little seed retailers still have seeds. You just might not be able to get exactly what you want. Heck, I even have extra seeds, so I'll sell you some. See the spaghetti squash? It's the last one for my garden last year, and you could have one just like it. We're gonna have this guy for dinner. The squash that I raise on this homestead have the most exquisite flavor. And that is the beauty of an Alaskan-grown spaghetti squash. For 32 easy payments of 35 bars of gold-pressed latinum, these seeds could be yours. This is a limited time offer, so you better act fast. I don't think it's actually possible to ban seeds, but I'm going to go through what you could do to get seeds if they were banned. Saving seeds is an important skill, and if you have access to produce, you have access to seeds. Last year, I got a pie pumpkin from a farmer's market. It was a really tasty pumpkin, and it was developed in New England, so I figured that variety of pumpkin would do well up here in the high north. So I saved the seeds and have planted them, and here they are growing, starting to grow. I'm going to put these guys back. Let's start off with the scenario that seeds were banned, but you still had a few packets left over from previous years. When you buy seeds from a seed company or off the shelf, they come in two major types, hybrid and heirloom. Here are two zucchinis that I am going to be growing in my garden this year. The Black Beauty is an heirloom variety that I've grown many years in the past and have always been very happy with. This Burpee's Best hybrid develops much faster and is supposedly more prolific than the Black Beauty. But it is a hybrid, and being a hybrid means I cannot save the seeds from it, or at least the seeds will not breed true. The baby plants will not be anything like the plants that I got them from. I like growing both heirloom and hybrid varieties since the hybrid varieties tend to be more productive, where the heirloom varieties I can save seeds from, meaning that they've got greater food security. This cherry tomato, the Super Sweet 100, is one of my favorite varieties of tomato to grow in Alaska. I've always gotten harvests from them and they are awesome, but they are an F1 hybrid, meaning that I have to buy seeds every time I want to grow them. F1 refers to the first generation cross. The plants are going to be very vigorous and have the best traits of both parents, but the seeds from these plants will not breed true. These tomato seedlings I started from seeds I saved from an Alaskan grown tomato from a commercial producer. You can start plants from F1 hybrids, but you never quite know what you're going to get. These F2 hybrids can be really fun to play with, but they will not necessarily have the desirable traits that the F1 hybrid parents had. Both heirloom varieties and hybrids are created through artificial selection, which means that humans have basically chosen the best plants generation after generation to produce the varieties that we know today. There is another way of producing seeds, and that is through genetic modification, where humans go in and take a gene from one species and put it physically into another species. Well, the seeds that are produced this way, you are not going to run into if you are a home gardener, almost certainly. Genetically modified seeds can be trademarked, and this zucchini that my husband picked up is trademarked, but I'm not sure if it's just the name that's trademarked or if the actual seeds are. So, it is something to look out for, but I don't think it's something to worry about. So to sum it all up, you can save your seeds from your heirloom varieties no matter what. And if you're a bedding person, well, save some seeds from your hybrids too. So let's say you didn't have any seeds saved, and they banned them. Well, turns out your food wants to grow. First two foods to consider if you're trying to get seeds are grains and beans. Both of these are the seeds of plants, so they will grow if you plant them. A little note though, with grains, you have to have a brown whole grain, like this brown rice, for it to grow. Beans, there's really no caveats, and they're absolutely the easiest thing to grow in a garden. There are many fruits that have seeds that you can plant this year, and I'm using the word fruit instead of vegetable to describe these because they have seeds that you can plant. So squash, pumpkins, tomatoes, and peppers all produce seeds that are plantable. These are kabuka squash seeds that I saved from a squash last year. Saving squash seeds in the fall and then planting them in the spring is a very good way of saving seeds. Squash and pumpkins can be hard to find this time of year because they need warm climates to grow, and grocery stores don't normally stockpile squash. This is my last spaghetti squash that I grew from last year, and I plan to eat it pretty soon. If you live in a warmer climate, you can get a close relative to squash, melons, and be able to take the seeds and grow these as well. The white seeds that you normally scoop out of the center of a cantaloupe are viable, unlike a couple of close relatives to the cantaloupe, the cucumber and the zucchini. Cucumbers and zucchinis that you buy in the store are harvested too young for the seeds to be viable, so unfortunately you can't save seeds from ones that you pick up at the grocery store, but you can save seeds if you grow them yourselves. These seeds in a cantaloupe can be planted. I'm going to plant a couple of those cantaloupe seeds and see if we can grow cantaloupes in Alaska. Many easily recognizable squash like spaghetti squash or butternut are heirloom varieties, so you can save the seeds from the squash that you plant. This spaghetti squash here, I saved the seeds from a store-bought spaghetti squash to grow it. Nightshade plants such as tomatoes and peppers have seeds that you can save. They might be F2 hybrids, but I've generally found that they will actually produce for you. So I just took a bite out of a tomato. Each of these little tomato seeds can be planted. You can actually grow tomatoes from tomatoes. The commercial varieties of tomatoes tend to be indeterminate, so will grow into huge plants and be super productive. Normally more productive than the person is ready for. These white discs are pepper seeds. I've already got all the peppers I want to have started for the year, so I'll be feeding these to the bunnies. Hey bunnies, want some carrots and pepper scraps? So now that we've went through some plants so you can get seeds for this growing season, let's go through some of the biennial plants that you would get seeds from next year. First one would be carrots. Carrots and onions are biennial, which means that it takes 2 years for a carrot or onion plant to produce seeds. When you buy a carrot at the grocery store, that carrot is a 1-year-old carrot. It would use its root to go over winter, so next year it could produce seeds. But you harvest it and then eat it. If you eat a carrot though, and you keep the top, you can replant the top, and the top will regrow greens. It doesn't regrow the actual root of the carrot, but it does regrow the greens, and eventually it will regrow a flower stalk and produce flowers. And flowers mean seeds. Onions are similar to this, where if you plant an onion that's started to grow in your fridge, that onion will produce seeds this year, and next year you can plant those seeds to be able to get onions. There are a number of other vegetables you can regrow to get seeds. Broccoli and cabbage are good examples of this, as well as celery hearts and lettuce hearts that will regrow if given a chance. My favorite example of a plant that will regrow is the pineapple. If you chop off the top and plant it, it will regrow a pineapple plant and eventually grow a little pineapple in the top of the plant. It takes about a year and a half for this to happen. If you live in a tropical climate though, it's a good option. So I've went through carrots and beans and squash, basically all the vegetables you might want to grow in your garden, except I think I'm forgetting one, maybe potatoes. Potatoes are a very prolific and easy plant to grow. Potatoes that you get from the grocery store are normally treated with anti-growth chemicals. That is why people normally buy seed potatoes. There are ways of getting around this though, although you'll have to wait a bit. If you plant a potato that has eyes that do start to sprout, it might actually produce potatoes for you, but that's a big might. If you plant potatoes from the grocery store, you'll probably not get much of a crop, just kind of small potatoes and not many of them. But you can get around this by buying your potatoes at a farmer's market where they are not treated, Or you can save the potatoes that you grew from grocery store potatoes and use them as seed, because those seed potatoes have not been treated with the anti-growth hormone. Let me show you my seed potatoes. These are seed potatoes that I saved from last year's harvest. Most of these came from potatoes that were actually supposed to be seed potatoes, but this little guy was a Yukon Gold that is pretty mutated, but this year it's growing great eyes and will be great in my garden. So we have a nice worldwide economic meltdown and a global pandemic to really make it fun, but seeds are not banned here in the United States, and even if they were, I've shown you what to do to get your seeds. So go out, plant a garden today, like, comment, subscribe, and check out our farm store in the description.